So you have life, and life is like motorcycle, so similar, like a metaphor. So use life like you use the motorcycle. Use life in new areas, new spaces. Challenge yourself. Put yourself out there.
Doubts gave in when you gave us a shot. Finding answers, believe them or not. Digging your feet in, on the go. Now there's no need to go it alone. It's the dawn of time. I believe could mean everything. It's the love of your life, and you know it could go anywhere.
Back in 2016-17, I used to run a motorcycle adventure company. And I used to lead and conduct a lot of tours. A lot of tours to Leh Ladakh. We did a few tours to Spiti, and we did tours to Bhutan. And while running all these tours, one of the things I realized is while leading the tour and traveling to all these interesting locations is great, somewhere I felt that all the clients who'd come with us would constantly be moving from one location to another and constantly traveling, right? And when we stopped at a particular location, when we had an additional day, we would just move around, scatter around, and do our own shopping and a lot of other things. Unfortunately, didn't notice too many people having conversations and connecting, and there's not too much of bonding that would go on. So that's one side of my experience.
I've been riding motorcycles for the last 14 years. I started off with a TVS Super XL, and right now I ride a Honda Transalp 750. I think my motorcycle journey began as a normal commuter when I started riding. But 2010 was a significant change in the way I started looking at motorcycling and what it brings to me. I lost my brother in 2010 to cancer. It was also a turning point because I realized life is short and it's important for you to live your life as much as possible.
You know, motorcycling has had a profound impact in the way that I have led my life, and eventually so much so that I've actually started a business from motorcycling, business of motorcycling, premium motorcycling touring. And also these are things that I've also shared in my book, recently released book called License to Fall.
Motorcycling gives me that opportunity to do it. It's my zen space, my freedom, the space where I would like to be when I'm really stressed.
After I moved out of the organization, I came back into training and development, which I used to do earlier, and got into training, facilitation, coaching, And somewhere during COVID, I used to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people who are going through their own challenges because of COVID, being stuck at home for 3 months and more, working from home. They all had their own challenges. They didn't have their me time. They couldn't create their own boundaries. Even though they were with family, there are a lot of challenges and issues that they're facing. And I was interacting with some of my coaches and having coaching conversations, and somewhere this was a virtual conversation, and somewhere I felt probably this was not adding meaning to their life. There's no transformation that I was noticing. People were taking it too lightly, taking it for granted. People were not really utilizing these coaching conversations. And that's when I felt there was a huge need to really meet people, have a conversation face to face and interact with them, and have a personal connect and bond that builds in these coaching conversations. And while I was toying with this idea, I was telling my wife of how it would be interesting that my passion for motorcycling and me wanting to go out there and meet people, and if only I could meet people on my ride where they need coaching and I could coach them. And I was just sharing some random thoughts with her, and my wife looked at me and said, well, why not? Why don't you do it? And that was an interesting conversation, because that made me think there are two parts of, or two skills, or probably two roles that I perform that kind of I really enjoy the most. One is as a motorcyclist, riding the motorcycle, running tours. On the other side, also coaching and having meaningful conversations and helping people go through a personal transformational journey, right? And that's when my wife told me this, I started thinking about, yeah, that's very interesting. How is it that we could bring in both of these things together? And my first thought was that leaders would be interested in going on these motorcycle tours. So let's plan motorcycle tours for leaders, and through the tour also coach them and mentor them on one, motorcycling, and through motorcycling also coach them and help them better themselves in terms of their own leadership skills. And over a period of time, I started talking to people, I started interacting with people, started sharing my idea with them, and one thing led to another, and I realized that there are a lot of people who would love to be coached, and there are a lot of people who would love to be a part of a learning process or a learning journey, more face-to-face, more engaging. And I also realized while I was having those conversations, if somebody has to go through that journey, I think they have to be in their element, in the zone where they feel safe, in their zone where they feel they're not being judged, in their zone where they can be themselves and they are, in their own rhythm, right? And that's where motorcycling and coaching kind of came together for me, really.
I think one journey which definitely I remember is my friend and I, we were coming back from Pathankot to Delhi. It's about a 600-mile journey, and we were both on our motorcycles, and my friend's bike started to kind of stop working a few times. So we discovered 3 kinds of mechanics which we found on our way back. There was first one who wasn't a motorcycle mechanic, he was just a mechanic. He used to repair these tempos, the small elephants that run on the highways. So this guy said, okay, probably your battery is down, I can help you fix up your battery and he got us running in about an hour's time. His bike again broke down, and the next mechanic we found was a bike mechanic, but unfortunately he didn't do bullets. All he had were Hero Hondas and the TVSs of the world. But he was a jolly person, and he said, "Oh, probably your the fuse is out." And then he repaired the fuse and he tied it back, and he again got us running back. The bike again broke down, and this is now we are almost riding for about 8-9 hours, and we were close to this place called Karnal, where we said, okay, enough is enough, let's find a bullet showroom. And this was almost about 5 in the evening. We took a turn, the first turn that we found, and we found these huge like a workshop of sorts, but about 100 bullets standing there. And the guy asked us what happened, and we said, okay, when we just switch on the ignition, all the lights are blinking. And he said, oh, your carbons are out. The biggest learning we had was there are people on the road which are there to help.
What I saw was a guy who actually quite nervous and quite lost all kind of confidence that he had about motorcycling. He's not a regular rider. I've realized that he's also past a particular age where he was having his aches and pains. Somehow I felt that he's lost this battle in his head before he actually put himself down. That situation, saying that, okay, listen, I want to opt out. So what I told him was just, why don't we do one thing, right? I completely get it, don't worry. But why don't you start with us tomorrow morning? And at any stage, when you think that you really can't do this is beyond your capabilities and comfort level, or can't push beyond this, then I will ensure that you will get onto the backup van, and your bike will be put on the van, and you don't have to endure that particular stretch at all. He reluctantly agreed, and so next morning turned up, and we were all going. Of course, it was a tough stretch, but I was constantly communicating with him. And then my lunch place, and we've actually passed through a really, really tough stretch, and we stopped for lunch at a small dhaba. So I asked him, and he looked at me and said, do you think you did okay? And I asked him, what do you think? He said, I think I can do it. I said, yeah, so it's going to be tougher ahead, but I think just dig in and let's do it. He concluded that day's ride where we reached Manali. And that evening, we were having a few drinks around the fireplace. He came and told me that, thank you so much for pushing me. In fact, I've been when I reached here, I kind of spent an hour with myself and reflecting on what I've been through. And he said, it's a pattern that I have had displayed in my life where things get really tight and tough. I normally look for an escape route, but you pushed me to, look beyond that, and that really helped me. And in fact, I'm looking at my life entirely and saying that, okay, listen, anytime I face something like this, I want to push and see, because I think I have it in me to actually do that.
Mudi hawre yerse Mudi hawre yerse Yeter sabu yer koi Yeter sabu yer koi Yeter sabu
It's important that you look at motorcycling not just as a means to an end, or a medium, or a tool to take you from place A to place B, but also there's a lot that motorcycling and this whole culture of motorcycling can probably help you understand. If you look at motorcycling as only riding the motorcycle fast, going from place A to place B, and probably showing off your really expensive motorcycle and all the gears and everything else, that's not what motorcycle culture is. Motorcycle culture is all about being that citizen on the road, showcasing some good behavior. And when I say good, there are a lot of things that come into the good. It's very subjective. What I mean to say is behaviors that doesn't affect other people on the road. Behaviors where you respect other people's space, and you also ensure that you set boundaries for yourself, and you create that space for yourself. You also don't disrespect anyone on the road. You don't take things for granted. You don't put other people's lives at risk. You don't put your life at risk. You take extreme care and caution about the way you ride, and how also be aware of how it affects people on the road.
I've been doing touring for quite some time. I have a group of friends who are there with me, who support me in multiple things. It's also helped me build a lot of networks. Motorcycling has helped me actually connect with a lot of individuals, see India as a country, take care of some of my fears that I had of someone who's never traveled around India. And I think it's been an amazing journey for me. This is my motorcycle right now, if you can see. Yeah, I'm just finishing a ride and coming back, so.
You see, motorcycling isn't just about speed. It's about embracing the flow state. That moment when you're so much in sync with your bike and the road, you start noticing the little things, the missing details in life that we often overlook. Kind of like when you realize you left your wallet at home only after you've ordered lunch. Except in this case, those details help you grow. Through the rain, the sun, and everything in between, we learn that resilience isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life. And let's not forget the mental clarity. There's something about the open road and the hum of the engine that clears your mind better than any yoga class, probably. Who knew Zen could come with a side of exhaust fumes? So here's to the road less traveled, the lessons learned, and the endless pursuit of that perfect flow. Because in the end, it's not just about the ride, it's about how the ride changes you.
And a simple example that I was sharing with a friend of mine was, even the shortest of distance, always wear a helmet. You promote wearing helmet and safety. Anywhere you go, always wear your helmet, no matter how short the distance is. And that's what role modeling is all about. So I think to build a better, more powerful motorcycle culture, it's extremely critical that we follow the discipline, we become more respectful, we have more gratitude, kindness and compassion towards others, and we're also self-aware about who we are, and also project ourselves in a more positive, likable manner, and build a community which is stronger and which promotes positivity, kindness, compassion. I think that's what I would call is a motorcycle culture.
He's so psycho. One day I woke up on the street. Sun was so hot, weather was sweet. I tried to sell my sheep.
Don't limit yourself. The more you put it in the garage like a motorcycle and hide it away from everybody's eyes, you know you have a motorcycle, but you know you're not using it. You're not using it to its true potential. You are not experiencing what you actually got it for. Similarly, the life that you have got, use it for something meaningful. Go out there, do something different, experience things, good, bad. You might have a fall on the motorcycle, so you have a bad experience in life too. But does not mean you disconnect and hide yourself somewhere, but go out there. You don't have to always go through an adventure, but try something different.
Just go out there.
Yeah, just go out there. Don't hide from light. You're not a vampire.